Hello, beautiful souls. Rochelle McCoy here, and I owe you all a long overdue update on my tailbone trauma injury healing process. And it's been over 8 months now since it happened. It was June 11th, 2020. We'll never forget that date. And I think I posted my last update 8 weeks into my healing process. So it's been quite a while. So I'm sorry to keep you all in suspense, but I just thought that better late than never, right? So in my first video, I covered the first 2 weeks following the injury. Pretty much 2 weeks of hell. It was awful. I was completely dysfunctional. I was pretty much at all times either lying on my side, icing my butt area, taking ibuprofen around the clock. I got an x-ray done that showed nothing. They said it was probably just badly bruised. Everything caused excruciating pain, from sneezing to walking to having a bowel movement. I mean, it was awful, awful, awful. And my lifestyle evolves around movement, hooping, and at the time hiking, and yoga, and having kids, chasing my kids around, or housing with my 2 boys who were 5 and 7. So it was really, really, really rough. And then from 2 to 4 weeks, I started to force myself to move a little bit. That helped. I started with walking, and then I would start driving short distances with my super sexy butt pillow. And I would slowly start to do some gardening, and things like that would feel okay in the moment, but soon after it would get very, very irritated, and my pain level would come back, and I would get so extremely frustrated because I would have these phases of starting to feel like I was getting better, and then the pain just coming back, especially at night. So I wasn't getting very much sleep. During this time, I was going through a lot of counseling because I very, very quickly got depressed because of the lack of movement, and just feeling really, really discouraged about the whole healing process. I was in a tailbone trauma Facebook support group or something like that, and there were just like horrible, horrible stories on there about chronic pain and having to get surgery and this and that, and it just like kind of terrified me more than it supported me. So I did actually, the one thing that did help was I started to ease back into my yoga practice, first with very, very gentle stretches, a lot of which my chiropractor recommended. And honestly, guys, like, yoga is what got me through this process, and I believe to my core that it's because of yoga that I healed so quickly. Many, many people with this type of injury can take up to a year or more to heal, and I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Right at 8 weeks, I got an MRI done because since my pain level kept coming back and I was just getting really frustrated at that point, since it was apparently due to just a badly bruised tailbone, my family practitioner ordered an MRI. He said that you can't really see those types of injuries and whether or not things are fractured or displaced or anything from an x-ray. So they did an MRI, and they did find that my sacrum was fractured. And that was a really, really hard blow. Physically, mentally, emotionally, a huge setback. I was immediately consumed by fear of doing anything that could make it worse, fear of continuing my yoga practice, which at that point I had really, really grown back into, fear of picking up my kids, fear of ever going hiking again, which 8 months later, I have still not been hiking again yet, because that's something I'm still working through, and I miss it so, so much, guys. So at this point, I was pretty much so depressed, I just started to ghost the world. I completely ghosted my family and my friends. I stopped spending as much time with my kids. I really started to lose interest in my passions. I completely just like put my whole business on hold and lost touch with a lot of my followers and my students that I had a deep connection with, and I am so deeply sorry if that includes you. I was in such a dark place. My family practitioner really couldn't tell me anything beyond what the MRI showed. He referred me to an orthopedic doctor and to a pain management doctor. The orthopedic doctor pretty much didn't tell me anything more. He looked at he looked at the MRIs, and he was like, "Yep, it's fractured. You just kind of have to wait it out, and that's it." So he referred me to a pain management doctor, which gave me a little something to help take the edge off, at least. Aside from this injury, I have like every health issue you can imagine. So I have pretty much my own personal team of doctors. So in addition to my family practitioner and the orthopedic doctor and the pain management doctor, I also had a naturopath doctor who was helping me with a fatigue issue and with a gut issue, which I'm still dealing with, but that's a whole other thing. And my naturopath doctor gave me some vitamins and holistic remedies to help with bone growth. And I really think, hi Bella, I really think that that made a big difference. And I was just really, really trying to build my confidence up enough to move my body as much as I felt I could safely. And most of that included yoga. I just stuck with very, very gentle yoga. I really had to avoid a lot of poses, like boat pose was a big one. This cat, you guys, oh my gosh, she's so spoiled. But my hoop flow is so in the moment, and I don't really think about what I'm gonna do next, and it's just very natural and just like, you know, getting in that flow state. I would do a lot of spinning and fast movements and tosses and jumping, and all of those movements were movements that could potentially trigger pain. And so I just kind of like went through this phase where I literally could not even open Instagram without just getting furious. For a while, social media was pretty much out. I barely posted to my business hooping Instagram page for a while, and that definitely hurt my business. And it wasn't until October that I started to feel more like myself, and that was when I kind of started to try to repair some of the damage that I had done with my business and my relationships and my body. I had gained weight because I had fallen out of my workout routine, and the most difficult thing to bounce back from, which I am still working through, is the emotional healing. For a really, really long time, I had terrible, terrible flashbacks and nightmares of the actual event. So the first lesson that I learned, and probably the biggest one, is that nature is unforgiving and it can be dangerous. When I am in nature, I am just consumed with these feelings of peace and contentment, and just the whole world melting away, and I would kind of, in a sense, just feel invincible, and that would sometimes make me kind of reckless. So I've definitely learned to keep my guard up and to be aware of the dangers around me, and that kind of goes hand in hand with why I'm afraid to go back to hiking, because I'm just like in my head seeing every single little thing that can go wrong. The second thing that I have really learned that I am so grateful for learning is that when I started my yoga practice, it was more for the experience of it, and just so many people telling me I should try it, and just getting really inspired by other people to incorporate this new mindful practice into my fitness routine. But through this process, hooping and gentle stretching and movement and breathing became a healer for me. It helped me heal in so many ways. And I cannot tell you how many times there were days when I would be really hurting, and I would just do some really gentle stretches with my foam roller or my yoga wheel, or just some deep stretching lunges, or side twists, or even just like laying on my belly and like twisting my arms and my legs a little bit. It would take away the pain, and it was an incredible experience, and something that I will always carry with me, to use yoga as a healer. This experience has also taught me not to take certain everyday things for granted, like having a bowel movement without pain, like walking, like sitting without having to use a frickin' donut pillow, like jumping up and down. I mean, so many things, I will never take for granted again, because I went so long without having to do them. And guys, honestly, I still have my butt pillow in my car, because when I'm driving for long distances, I still need it. And another huge thing that I learned through this process is, while I was pretty much like dysfunctional, like molded into the couch, like the most movement I got for a while was like moving from one side of my body to my other. Like the pain was so bad I couldn't even lay on my back. It was one side or the other, one side or the other. That was like my day for a while. And once I began to sit up a little bit, or like get a little bit more mobility in me, but not enough to really jump back into my movement practices, I started to recognize and discover new passions, like working on a bullet journal, or reading more, or writing, or drafting up inspirational videos to share with people like these, rekindling my relationship with God. So many other passions that I never really thought that I had inside of me that kind of came out during this experience. I had to do just as much mental and emotional work as I did physical through this process. And a lot of times I feel like the emotional part can be a lot harder than the physical part. Okay, so now the actual up to today update, 8 months later. I am sitting cross-legged on the ground with no butt pillow. I am completely immersed back in my movement fitness practices. I am even taking personal training. I'm gaining muscle. I am doing yoga. I'm attending yoga classes. I'm practicing at home. I can jump. I'm hooping again, you guys. I'm hooping. I can do all the hoop moves, and it's amazing. And I am just, this whole experience has been such an eye-opener for me, just to be so grateful for all of these things that our bodies are capable of doing, that certain exercises such as gentle stretching and yoga can really speed up that process and bring you peace of mind and bring your body peace. And I just have a whole new appreciation for so much. My biggest hurdle now is just getting over my fear of going back to hiking, and also to get really caught up on my business. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there too, and I have lately just been flooded with ideas and motivation and drive to just like give it my all, and my passion for it has returned, and my passion for posting again and connecting with my followers and encouraging people more than ever to bring movement into their bodies.